Only 2 more verses, and then we can have some question answer. Verse 17. I think all of you know the myth of the churning of the milk ocean. And when the gods and the demons were churning the milk ocean, then all kinds of things came out. There was coming out a poison. And then this is a very long story, which I'm cutting short because it is here in the background of verse 17. See, when that poison came out, then they were the gods were very scared, and they said, whom can we ask to overcome the poison? So they asked Shiva. And Shiva swallowed the poison. And that is why he got the blue throat, and it's called Nilakanta. Now this is a very significant myth, because it is, according to me, not only to me, it is also, it can be applied to the present situation of ecology. See, there is so much of poison, so much of pollution, and what is the solution? And the solution in the case of Shiva was to swallow, not to, this is again Advaita. He did not perform any act to exclude that poison, but he took it in his own body. But he was, of course, powerful, that it didn't harm him, but he retained that blue throat. And then, of course, the nectar came out. So both poison and nectar came out of that churning. Now, in verse 17, Kanta kona vinivishtam ishate Kala kutam apime mahamritam apyupatam amritam bhavatvapur bheda vritti yadirochate name. This is very... That poison was called Kalakuta. Even the deadly poison that rests in a corner of your throat, O Lord, is supreme nectar to me. A nectar that is separate from your body, even if it is easily accessible, doesn't interest me. So again, he wants only, even if it is poison in the body of the divine, that is preferable to any nectar outside. And so this verse is also quoted in the sense that anything negative like what Shiva swallowed that whole negativity and overcame it. And if it is in Shiva's body, then the devotee wants to be there and not outside. Like in one verse he was praying that let me be dumb, but be inside you, and not intelligent, being away from you. So that being within the divine, that is his great one-pointedness. So even accepting that poison, and this, of course, this can be also applied to situations where we are suffering or where we are anything negative, but if we perceive it as in the divine body, then it doesn't cause that duality, that split, the exclusion. So normally what we do, we exclude the negativity. But negativity, if you exclude it, then of course you create more duality. But if with the power of Shiva, it is swallowed within and transformed. So there is a transformation which we will come in, I think I should take it right here, 20, Stotra 20. In 2012, Dukkani api sukhayante, visham api amritayate, mokshayate cha samsaro yatra marga sashankara. That this is very, from Sanskrit grammatic point of view, he has made verbs out of the nouns, dukkha, sukha, visha and amrita. Now, this part of Shiva is that where even suffering is transformed into joy, where even poison is transformed into nectar, and where even this world of samsara is transformed into liberation. Mokshayate cha samsara. This is a description, a summary of what is this part of Shiva, where it is that divine transformation, that total transformation, even suffering transformed into joy, even poison into nectar. And that is, of course, an allusion to the same story of Shiva swallowing the poison and in that way overcoming it. And even this world of samsara becoming liberation. It's a pure transformation. There's no part. It's just like causative. Dukkam api sukhayanti. So this is a summary of the whole part of Shiva. Now we come to the last verse of 13. Tvam angatham avikalpam advayam svam svarupam akhilartha kasmaram avishan aham umesha sarvada pujayeyam abhisamstuveyacha. Entering you, my own being, the fathomless, the undifferentiated, the one without a second, devouring all sense of subject and object, O Lord of Uma, ever may I worship and sing praises to you. This is the overcoming. This is verse 20, 13, 20. That the Lord, He is Agada, He is fathomless, He is free from thought, avikalpa, and He is free from duality. And entering you, who is my own being. So I become like the Lord. And devouring all sense of the duality of subject and object. O Lord of Uma, Pujayam Abhisamstuviyate, may I ever worship you and sing praises. So this is again the total transformation into non-duality, avikalpa, Advaita. So we have gone quickly through this Stotra 13, which is so important in the living tradition, and whenever you have a time to go through it again, it is worth meditating with these verses, especially some which are directly important for meditation. Yovikalpam idam arthamandalam, and which are important for the positive value of the senses, the sense perception. Now, because I have a number of questions, we can have a short session of answers, question, answer. It may not be complete, but at least a few questions I can try to. So, okay, from the same. Exactly. Yeah, it's not difficult to. One question, can you explain what Utthana means? It is, samadhi, absorption. When the eyes are closed and they are completely absorbed with it. And I only say it because the word Utthana means getting up, getting out, getting up. But otherwise it just means the consciousness, awareness of the outer with the senses, outer activity also. Utthana, but here it is always used in this yoga context as the contrast to samadhi. So when either you are absorbed or you are outside. And the ideal, we have seen again and again, is to overcome the duality. To retain absorption even when you are in outer activity. Utthane pi samahita. Remain, and you have seen people who are very deeply absorbed, and even when they do outside activities, you can feel that they are still within. This is the ideal, and this is the whole practice to reach that. See, everything what we are doing here is overcoming duality into non-duality. See, that duality between samadhi and utthana is the yogic aspect of it. That even in the outer activities, not to lose that inner collectedness, inner deep presence within. It is proper. See, many of the texts we have studied here, they are not to be done. They are to be experienced. It is not something you can do artificially. But you can deepen your experience so that ultimately you reach to that state where there's no difference. But it is not something which you can do a particular mantra, a particular yogasana or anything. It has to happen. It has to happen. This is most of the whole spirituality is something which has to happen. But of course we have seen that Utpaladeva, he prays. He prays to the Lord. And he prays for grace. But that doing in order to achieve the state, that is anavopaya. That's why I've written it again. The upayas. You do something, any practice, any method, in order to achieve some state, some experience, that is anavopaya. And there you have rituals, you have yoga in the sense of hatha yoga, and you have all kinds of external practices. But here, from the very beginning and from the very first verse of Utpaladeva in his philosophical work, it is not the doing. It is from the first verse of the Śivastotrāvalī. Not yayate, not japata. It is not the doing, it is the being free from this duality of the doer, the action and the result. This basic duality. And there it requires a different attitude. You know, we are so much used, we want a method. Now it has to be like this, and then the result has to be like that. And first of all, you are disappointed if the result does not come. But in this spirituality, which is pure Advaita, this is not something you can do. Then, of course, I have many questions. So then, what shall we do? Well, the actually mystic attitude is an attitude of passivity. Let it happen. But we mostly obscure our own capacity by too many. That's why avikalpa is the condition here. Being free from thoughts. Being free from this dualistic scheme of things. And this is, I mean, you ask or you look at any text of mysticism, the mystical attitude is passivity. To allow it to happen. And then it is incredible, the wonder, this ascharya and this chamatkara, that what is possible, what can happen, without our even willing that I want to reach that state. No. So that passivity is more difficult than activity where we know exactly step by step, now we have to do this, now we have to do that. And that is not easy to accept. So this was one question also, to practice again and again. Definitely again and again. It is not, once you have experienced something, you have to repeat. Unless you are in anupaya, this is absolutely very rare. Shambhava also, but already in Shakta, you have to repeat, you have to practice, but exactly not in that dualistic sense. That, so in the same question, practice again and again, yes. In Sanskrit, but people who are not in the Sanskrit context, you can take the meaning, we have translation, you can take the meaning, and you don't need Sanskrit. Only those who can have, who enjoy Sanskrit, I would say, can use it, the original. Yeah, now this is a little confusion. The question is, can it be that the three upayas merge into one single upaya? No, it is not like that. at the highest upaya includes the lower ones, but not the other way around. The lower does not include the higher. See, if from Shambhava, any yogi who is in the Shambhava state, he can also come down to Shakta, he can come down to Anava. And if he is a guru, he needs to come down. If he doesn't come down, he cannot guide his disciples. And Anupaya, of course, is so rare that it is exactly like in the first verse, Natyayata, Nachapata, and he does nothing but just evam eva Shiva bhasa. He is in that light of Shiva just as he is. So then you just have a darshan and you be like Abhinavagupta says in the second chapter of Tantra Loka. It is, if you have a Siddha darshana, it is enough. Like Nocho Swami said, it is over. That Siddha who is in the Anupaya state, then you have his darshan and that's enough. But if you're able to receive it, you don't need anything else. And that is a sudden enlightenment, where we believe in sudden enlightenment. Huh?
Next to you. Next to you sits Anupaya.
No, I have it. Huh? Your question?
No, I said that this Anupaya sits next to you in the photo of Ramana Maharishi.
Yes, Ramana Maharshi. Yes. So what was the other question? This is Abhyat. Why is it God's will to create the sense of duality and separation? How can I ask for Advaita if it is His will to create Dvaita in my mind? Well, you see, this kind of question one has to consider them in the context of the same tradition. Of course, you can ask many questions, whether it's from a Christian or Jewish or any other tradition. But here, the answer has to come from this tradition itself. And there are volumes and volumes of answer to this. Yes. See, the general scheme, which is in the whole of Shaivism, is that Shiva has 5 acts. Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara. Shiva has 5 acts. Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Vitirutana, Anugraha, creation, maintenance, veiling, dissolution or reabsorption, veiling and grace. Now when Abhinavagupta describes in the beginning of Bhadrishika Vivarana, all the acts of Shiva have only one purpose, that is grace. He creates for grace, he maintains for grace, he absorbs for grace, he veils for grace. All his 4 acts only aim at grace. And that is who asked the difference between Anugraha and Shaktipata. And Anugraha, this is his cosmic grace, so to say. This is his cosmic act, which is always present. So why does he create duality? In order to reach unity. See, the multiplicity of the universe is nothing negative in this tradition. It is not against non-duality. It's the whole question of how you perceive the multiplicity. And that is why also we have seen the aesthetic is an intermediary step to the mystical. So perceiving the beauty of the universe, and then you see it in the divine light, and then you come back to that Advaita, to that unity. So why is God's will? There is one answer, which is of course even the Shaiva Agamas have said that His will to play. It is a lila. His creation is a play, and that play is exactly, it is for enjoyment, for the play of returning to the unity. Manifestation outside and then coming back to the one. See, you cannot, any philosophy of spirituality which denies multiplicity, it is not acceptable, because we live in a world of multiplicity. And the question is how we deal with it in our consciousness and in our action and in our understanding. So in a Shaivite context, this multiplicity is meant to lead back to unity. But how can I ask for Advaita if it is His will to create Advaita? It is not His will to create Advaita. See, will, we have the whole system of Shaktis. See, will is actually Icha Shakti. It is an energy. Icha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti. Energy of will, energy of knowledge, energy of activity. These are, see, the divine, as he says, is Agada, he is unfathomable, and but his activities are carried out by his energies. And then a multitude of energies, but these 5 are the basic, and the 3 are actually those energies which create the multiplicity also, and which are both in the external and also in the internal. It's the divine energy of will, knowledge and activity, and it's in us also. All these energies are in us. So there is also a lot of space for the individual to deal with these energies and to activate them in the direction of overcoming duality. The same thing you can use for, like most people, for getting externalized and distracted. But the same energies can be used for internalized. So that's why Svatantriya is the highest energy, highest Shakti, is Svatantriya, is freedom. But as he said in one verse, that freedom, you have that freedom if you are in tune with the divine freedom. The divine is the absolute freedom. And if you are in tune with that divine freedom, then your freedom is real. It is not, see, sometimes freedom is an illusion. People think, oh, I can do what I like. It's complete illusion. It's not the real freedom. So it is, the question can be thrown back, if it is your will to be in Advaita, then you have to do something to switch it over to the will to Advaita. I think Yutana, I have said, a practical question. If I imagine drinking the nectar, amrita, techniques, yeah. This is the Now, Amrita is a most significant, not concept, but experience also. From the Veda on, in the Veda it is the gods, they become immortal only by drinking that Amrita. So Amrita is more important than the gods. And in Tantra Yoga, that Amrita is produced, there is, you can call it a method, that is in Sukshma Dhyana. And if you have the Netra Tantra, Sukshma Dhyana, that Amrita is produced in the yogi, and when he is, here comes that fullness, when he is in that fullness, that Amrita also flows out. When he is in a complete fullness, that Amrita flows out. And that is why the fully realized yogi is a source of realization for others, because he allows that flow of Amrita. So I have taught the Netra Tantra several times here also, and this practice is described there. Of course, Kundalini is the source of Amrita. Yes. I would like in a small group to teach a short text of Swami Lakshman Jo, Kundalini Vijnana Rahasya. His interpretation of Kundalini is very beautiful. Very beautiful. But it can be only in a small group, maybe sometime. So I have not answered all the questions, but at least some ideas. Yeah, this question of technique, that I know this is the whole problem in a spiritual circles. We always want a technique. We want a technique to lead us to a particular state or particular experience. But it's not a technique. It's not a technique, it's something else. And that else, we call it grace, or we call it, from the side of the practitioner, passivity, receptivity, being open to what is possible. That there are infinite possibilities in our consciousness. If we can connect and if we can, but it's the technique will not give it. Technique is very much anarupaya. So it's more that, Utpaladeva has given so many possible approaches, but you just catch one of them. That's my wish. Catch one of them and then practice with that. Just keep a focus on that verse and meditate with it. There are many possibilities here, but they are not techniques. That is not his job. He is not an anarupaya at all. So now I would like to complete the Śivastotrāvalī with the 20th stotra. You have the book, huh? Only a few verses from Stotra 20. verse 7. Dhyanamritam ayam yasya svatnamulam ranashvaram samvillatas tata rupas tasya kasyapi sattaro. Well, of course, in the first verse of the whole text, there is no question of natyayate nachapato. But dhyana is there. Definitely dhyana is there at another level. The first verse was definitely anupaya. Natyayate nachapata. But here, dhyana, again, is amrita. What amrita means, this blissful essence, which is at the same time immortality. In her translation, just as the roots of that sacred tree lie in sublime and everlasting recognition, so too are formed its branches of sense perception. There are many metaphors or similes of the tree or the plants of the creeper which produces then flowers and the fruit. And here is the tree of the divine. In Swamiji's interpretation, the devotee of Lord Shiva is like a beautiful, glorious tree whose roots are soaked with the nectar of their meditation. So this is, here dhyana is that which gives life to the tree. Because these devotees always meditate on your form. So the roots of the tree are always soaked with the nectar of meditation. The branches, fruits, and whatever the tree later bears are also soaked with that nectar. Knowledge pertaining to those devotees are also the supreme nectar of meditation. So here meditation is absolutely positive, and it is at the root of making this divine tree grow. There is a saying in Sanskrit, when you offer water to the ancestors, tarpana, there's a ritual. You offer water to the ancestors at the root of a tree. And at the same time, you also water the tree. So the ancestors get satisfied, and the tree also gets life. So this I like. It's a very beautiful image for this two things. One is to perform your ritual duty to your forefathers, but you also nourish the tree. And here the tree is nourished with dhyana, with meditation. Yeah, and 10. Nakvapi gatva hitva apina kinchit idam evadiye bhavyam dvadhama pashyanti bhavyastebhyo namo namaha. I bow to those who, going nowhere and renouncing nothing, Yet view all this as your glorious abode, Tvatthama. This is again this being free from any obligation, free from any condition, not going anywhere, not renouncing anything. But yet they are glorious. They are in your abode, Tvatthama. Pashyanti, they view everything as your glorious abode. So again, this is more the spontaneity where this experience comes without any condition. We are running to some temple, or we are renouncing our worldly. No, it's not like that. Neither this nor that. But perceiving everything as the divine real. Bhakti Lakshmi Samritanam Kim Anyad Upayachitam Etaya Va Daritranam Kim Anyad Upayachitam. What else remains to be desired by those rolling in the wells of devotion? For those deprived of it, what else is worthy of desire? Either you have this fullness, experience of this fullness where nothing else is to be prayed for. And those who are poor, they have nothing else to require, to pray for, but this richness of bhakti, of devotion, of love. Then 12 is complaining. No, this we have. No, 12 we have already seen. Tukanya Pisukayante, Vishamapi Amritayate, Mokshayate Samsaro, Yatra Marga Sashankara. This we have already seen. This is the way, the path of Shiva. Shankara Marga. It summarizes all this transformation which happens. Complete alchemical transformation. Then 16, Sarvabhasa avabhaso yo vimarsha valito akilam aham etat itistomi tam kriya shaktim ishate. Here, O Lord, I praise your Kriya Shakti, energy of activity, light of all lights, filled with universal consciousness. I am all this. Aham etat iti. This is the mantra. I am all this. And here Swamiji's interpretation. O Lord Shiva, the supreme I consciousness which lightens this whole universe, which is the cause of the shining of this whole universe. This I consciousness is your Kriya Shakti. But, as I said before, there are these 5 energies, and the 5th energy is when he reveals his own nature. And this 5th, this Kriya Shakti, actually, Anugraha Shakti, the act of grace. So aham etat, I am all this. There are several texts on this pure, ultimate aham, I. This, the mantra Soham as such does not come here. Soham, Shivoham, but we have it, of course. Then we conclude with verse 19. Here Dhyana is here. Dhyata matram upatishtata eva tvat vapur varada bhakti tananam api achintyam akilat puta chinta kartritam pratichate vijayante. By mere recognition, O granter of boons, does your transcendental form emerge before those rolling in the wells of devotion, and thus do they conquer all causes of pain. It's often, Bhakti is said to be Lakshmi, the goddess of rich, of wealth. The true wealth is Bhakti, is devotion. And 20. The last verse, Arabta bhavad abhinutir amuna yena angakena mama shambho dhyena apirantam imam kalam dridam akilam eva bhavishita. In the end, there's only one request before you, O Lord. I have composed these glorious talks. With what ambition have I composed them? That does not have to be known. My only desire and request is that you should bestow me the sensation that I should always sing your glory for my whole lifetime. This is the. Now we have distributed a few slokas, but I think we have to stop here, and we have one. I know, we still have a little time. We still have a few minutes. Maybe I did not answer your question. Sorry, you have asked me questions. But I want it all in writing. Huh? But you told me. Did you got this page's copy? Stotra. Yes. 12, 17 and 19. Aikya Sanvit Amrita Charaya Santata Prasritaya Kada Vibhu Plavanat Paramabhedam Arnayan Tvam Nijam Cha Vapur Apnoya Mudam. When, O Lord, shall I attain your blissful body and my own by flooding it with the continued flow of the pure nectar of the oneness of consciousness of supreme non-duality. So this is our Advaita Bhakti in a condensed form. See, both the Aikya submit that consciousness of unity, of oneness. Paramapeda, the supreme non-duality. And 19, Aparimita Rupa Maham Tam Tam Pratikshanam Pashyan Tvam Eva Vishwarupam Nichanatam Sadhu Pashyayam. We had this in several versions, but here in a very brief and clear form. Let me see everything, every moment, in its unlimited form. Now, I have made two translations. Second is better. Let me perceive every moment, each and every object of the world in an unlimited form, as you alone, my Lord, of universal nature. I have made three translations. Every moment, let me clearly behold each and every object of the world in an unlimited way, as you alone, my Lord, of universal form. So this is one bhavana. If you remember the Vijnana Bhairava, this is a bhavana. Let me perceive everything. It's not closing the eyes. Let me perceive everything, but not in its limited form, but in its unlimited form. That is, Swamiji, my guru, he always gave practical examples. And how he perceives something, and then he sees it in its unlimited form. So because our perception is always limited. But if we transform it into an unlimited perception, then we are already in that divine. And one can start from, you remember that one verse, that even the blades of grass, you, Namo Mahyam Shivayeti Pujayansyam Trinani Api. Let me worship even the blades of grass. So I see in a blade of grass, I see that unlimited divine form. So this is a practice that we can call it bhavana, according to Vijnana Bhairava. And it is beautiful. I mean, you can practice it anywhere and everywhere, but you have to be in that state of consciousness where you allow that limitation to go into the unlimited, to merge in that unlimited, and then you see the divine in everything. So I think we have to take leave of the Śivastotrāvalī, and tomorrow we will come at least for one session to Stavachintamani. So I hope you have retained your shloka, because that is to be shared tomorrow, the concluding session. Can we conclude with Yasmin Sava?